Great. Can't wait to bring this up.
Hey bro, but if they can't prove it, just move on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, move
exactly.
on to the Quran.
Well, because there's no two notions that would contradict
Okay,
within this given.
this is what the elder used to say. When Mark was the interpreter or translator of Peter, he wrote down accurately everything that he recorded of the Lord's words and deeds, but not in order, for he neither heard the Lord nor accompanied him. But later, as I indicated, he accompanied Peter, who used to adapt his teachings for the needs at hand, not arranging, as it were, an orderly composition of the Lord's sayings. And so Mark,
notice what you just said there.
right, and so, wait 1 second, and so Mark did nothing wrong by writing some of the matters as he remembered them, for he was intent on just one purpose, not to leave out anything that he heard or to include any falsehood among them.
Okay, notice what you just said there. That besides from John and Matthew, which were eyewitnesses, his compilation of the text came from other people that knew Christ, and that's why he's outlining a distinction. Not that they don't contain the same contents, but rather the composition is different.
Okay, so first of all, that's about John, which Papias, we don't have any surviving fragments regarding what he said about the Gospel of John. Okay. So he's only talking about Mark and Matthew.
Yes.
So it's got nothing, it's not correlated.
Yes, it is.
The second point, no, it's not. Second point, second point, it's a good thing. Second point, who are the elders?
The elders would be with the elders of the church.
Who? Name one.
Well, you don't need to name them.
Why not?
Because the elders of the church are just referring to the people within the church.
Who are they?
Like, for example, in Revelation 5:8, when it talks about the elders in heaven.
Name them. Name them that transmits back to Peter.
How do we know that?
How do we know?
Why would we need that?
Oh, right. Oh, wait, hang on. So I can get a statement from a group of 20 men, and that's it. You're going to believe in it? You're going to believe in that transmission?
No, it's just that he's just saying that the means to which Mark is receiving.
Why did Papias inquire about the elders?
Why are you interrupting him?
Why does Papias inquire about the elders?
So does that mean that I can interrupt you now?
Okay.
Why does Papias inquire about the elders?
If you actually understand the patristic language,
Yes.
elders is just referring to the people within the church, like the hierarchy of
I'm
the
not
church.
arguing about that.
No, you're not. But I'm just saying that the reason why he's talking about the elders is because he's saying the means to which Mark receives.
And who are the
is-
elders?
You're
And give me the
interrupting
names.
You're interrupting me. David, now interrupt him.
Well, interestingly, to interrupt him, so never trust Muslims when they copy things into notes because they're liars. What you should do instead is actually appeal to actual real source text. So, interestingly here, when it talks about Mark, this is the writing, it says here, a tradition regarding Mark, who wrote the Gospels, which he, Papias, has given in the following words. And it says here that the presbyter spoke, so it says here, it was not, however, in the exact order that he had related the sayings or the deeds of Christ. So it's not. It's not Mark.
That's Mark.
So you
don't even know what you're talking about. You don't even know what you're talking about.
In Mark, it's either or. So it doesn't mean both ends. So if you're insisting that Matthew has to be a both and an and, in the writings of Papias, with Mark, it's an either or. So you're wrong.
Right. So
now, keep quiet.
Now does Papias? I know you're hurt, David. So the point is this.
Because
the point is no. The point is this. No, the point is this. Who are the elders? Give me the transmission. Give me the names of the No. 1 second.
Notice how you just now moved, right?
Exactly.
No, I haven't moved. You're the one that brought your elders. I didn't. You're the one that brought your elders. I
Now you're
didn't.
applying. So initially, you critiqued Papias' interpretation of what the Gospels are.
I don't care.
Now
Wait.
you're moving on to the Hadith science of being applied
That's him.
to Mark.
Wait, hang on. You brought up. Wait, 1 second. He did. I didn't. You brought up. Sorry, 1 second. You brought up. Sorry, 1 second. You brought up about the elders. I didn't.
No, I didn't. You asked me a question about the elders.
No. You said about the elders.
You asked about the elders.
Okay, no problem.
You just asked about them.
fine. So give me the names of the elders who Papias received from.
I can give you that. Papias was a disciple of John the Beloved.
Prove it.
What do you mean?
Prove it. Because Eusebius, he had the physical book, and he said Papias in his preface does not say that he was a hearer or an eyewitness of the Holy Apostles.
That's a lie.
Now read it. Read Eusebius, page 101. Can you read it? He corrects Irenaeus. Okay, I'll prove it to you.
Go on his notes and read it wrong.
I'll prove it to you. Okay, thank you.
But find in the notes.
Because what Eusebius does, Eusebius corrects Irenaeus. Because Irenaeus is only testifying. Wait 1 second. Because Irenaeus is only testifying what he heard from the Asiatic churches. He mentioned that against heresies. So he doesn't have a direct transmission.
I have
Irenaeus
Okay, prove
claims to be
it.
from Polycarp.
Prove it.
In fact, the only source that says that Polycarp, John, and Irenaeus are in a chain is Irenaeus himself. That's the common critique.
So why
of
does
liberal
Irenaeus
scholars.
go by what he heard from the Asiatic churches?
Show me.
He says it. Oh my goodness me. Can you bring it up, please? Can you bring it up? Can you bring it up? He hasn't read it. He hasn't read it. He hasn't read it. Can you bring it up? Can you bring it up? Can you bring it up? Thank you.
You know what? You know what tanking? Do you know?
Assalamu alaikum. Oh, please bring it. Please bring it.
Do you
Please
know
bring it.
what? Do you know what tanking a source is? You know within academic literature it's called tanking.
Please bring it.
Where
You
does
don't. You
it
never
say?
grant
CBS.
No, you said Irenaeus says he got it from the Church of Asia.
Yeah, he'll bring it. He'll
No,
bring
you
it.
said
He'll
Irenaeus.
Damn.
he'll bring it. He'll bring it. No problem.
Okay, here's the quote. Where does it say?
He'll bring it. No problem.
So your claim was that he only received his
Try and find the
information.
man.
He
Church.
only
Okay, keep trying.
testified what the Asiatic
Okay.
churches said.
So he only received his information from that church.
Yes,
So why would he use the church, not Polycarp, who had direct
exactly.
access?
That's the question.
But
So we're going to bring the
within liberal
evidence.
scholarship
Right.
and common critique
Right.
of
Right.
Irenaeus
Right.
is that Irenaeus is the only one that claims succession.
You're only
from
appealing to
Polycarp.
tradition, but the transmission doesn't
No,
suggest so.
Polycarp himself within his book against
So why doesn't
heresies
Polycarp quote anything from the Gospel of John then?
Does he need to?
Yes, he does.
Within-
Imagine, you're the
within
student
book
of John
3,
the Apostle,
because
and he doesn't
within
quote
book
anything from the
3,
Gospel of John.
Because within book 3, chapter 1,
Wow.
he actually says
Goodness
that within
me.
the bosom, John is receiving revelation
Yes.
and writes his gospel.
Yes.
So why
So
is it,
we'll bring
why
the
is
testify
it-
the
why
Asiatic
is it
churches.
that Irenaeus claims a succession from Polycarp and that he actually affirms
We'll see.
the
We'll
writings
see.
of John?
We'll see. We'll
So
see.
you're
We'll
gonna
bring the
give
evidence.
me-
Now he's stuck.
So I'm going to tank you a
No,
source.
he's bringing the
I'm going
evidence.
to tank
Don't
your
worry.
source that stipulates that he only
Right.
received his information
Right,
from this
right.
church.
And
Okay,
after that,
no problem.
we're going to talk about Hadith science.
No problem.
And how it's a little below. Well, we are indeed.
One second. One second. One second.
I want the statement that he only...
So, brothers and sisters, what we're discussing about is the church tradition of the Gospels of Matthew, the Gospels of Mark and Matthew, which they received from Papias through Eusebius's work. Okay, and Papias described that Mark, that Peter's scribe was John Mark, and he wrote everything what Peter remembers of the sayings or actions, okay, of the Lord. Okay, so that's the point. Papias describes the Matthew is the sayings of Jesus, and it's in Hebrew or Aramaic. That's where they get the traditional authorship of Mark and Matthew. And if you have Mark and Matthew, you compare what Papias is describing, it's not matching. So the Gospel of Mark and Matthew that they are relying today is not the same Gospels that Papias is describing Mark and Matthew. It's a different version.
What is this whole letter?
Oh, that's right.
That's the point. So what they're relying on from the church about the description of Mark and Matthew is not mirroring what they have today.
No.
That's the point.
Over here. The illustrious disciples of the apostle who leaned upon...
Damn, I thought you guys knew something. You're still trying to find it. Keep going. You'll find it one
So
day.
again, I want to reinforce that the tanking of what we're going to read from you is that he only receives his information from the church, not that he receives information from the church.
Muslims make arguments for exclusivity when there is none to be made. They can't read, and as a result, when it comes to interpreting text, whenever they read something in isolation, they therefore espouse that it means only this particular possibility is the case. Now, if I apply this to the Quran, for example, when Allah calls himself in one ayah, the All-Merciful, then in the other ayah, the Almighty, if I was reading this like a Muslim, I would assume, wait a second, over there he's the All-Merciful, but over here he's the Almighty. That means that he's only one at a time. But no, two things can be true of one thing at different. So it doesn't have to be a either or, but it can be a both and. Simple as that. Yeah, show me only. There would be no exclusivity. You guys need to read better. It's that simple. Now, Hadith science, while we're waiting. So, you guys claim that you have a capacity by which you're able to faithfully transmit words and sayings from your prophet that apparently come from God. Now, I need proof that even if I grant you...
Thank you very much.
There we go.
Thank you, Jazakallah khair.
And the one
But
only
Papias himself,
All right.
this is from Eusebius, the history of the church.
Great.
But Papias, 3.19, page 101, history of the church. But Papias himself, in the previous to his discourses, by no means declares that he was himself a hearer and eyewitness of the holy apostles. But he shows by the words which he uses that he received the doctrines of the faith from those who were their friends. So what is Papias doing? What is Eusebius saying? Eusebius is saying that he had an actual work of Papias, which literally says in the preface that he himself testifies that he was not a hearer or an eyewitness to the apostles, and he's correcting Irenaeus. Thank you. Thank you. Now, please bring evidence. Please bring evidence.
Anyone in this therefore has the original source.
Ask him that. Ask him that question.
According to that, anyone in this has the original source.
Thank you. Finish. Finish.
We give evidence in the preface. It's not mentioned. Evidence. We have evidence here.
I think the matter is clear. I think the matter is clear. Now I'm going to be the Asiatic churches. I'll bring the Asiatic churches, yeah?
Just
Don't worry.
because it is mentioned,
Don't worry.
in the preface, it does not claim to be a direct eyewitness of the
All right.
We have the elsewhere in the private Athanasius in chapter 9.
So Thomas and David, they failed to provide names of the elders who transmitted from John Mark. They failed to provide. Imagine, oh, you got it from the elders. Who? Who exactly? What names? In our hadith tradition, when it comes to the Quran, we know the names of the transmission. Imagine if I say the Prophet, imagine the Qira'at, it comes from the Sahaba, generally, and we don't provide any names who transmitted it. You would say, why should I accept it? Right? So, yes, you did. If I say, okay, the Prophet, okay, wait, no, this is my argument now. So listen, no, I'm gonna make a closing statement here. So look at them. When they critique about the Quranic transmission, and if we were to make the claim that the Prophet, that the Quran that we have today is transmitted via the Sahaba, via the companions, do you know what their natural question would be? Give me the names, each and every transmitter. You're not going to accept it, the companions. So I'm going to hold the same standard to him, that when Papi said he received from the elders, does he name the elders that is transmitted, that goes back to John Mark? The answer is no.
You read that, and at the same time, Papias, the bishop, sorry.
Yes.
Let me, okay?
Yes.
So you said that Papias never claimed to be a hero of the
You're going by
disciples.
Irenaeus.
Huh?
You're going by Irenaeus.
No, this is Eusebius. This is Eusebius.
Yeah, and by the way,
Okay.
your quote from Eusebius is talking about.
I don't think you've, with all due respect, I don't think you've read ecclesiastical history, because you know what Eusebius mentioned? There were two Johns, two different Johns. John the Apostle and John the Elder, John the Ephesus.
Yes.
So he's correcting Irenaeus. It's not going to support your case.
No, it's
No,
not.
Okay, it's not going to support your case. Yeah. So the point is,
the apostle
right.
dwelt in
Yes.
Hierapolis with his daughters, already stated, but it must be noted here that Papias, their contemporary.
Yes.
So Papias is a contemporary of Philip.
read in the light of what he said in the beginning.
Because he
What
says
did he
that.
say?
No, you
What did he
can't
say?
cherry pick
What
it.
is, no, I ain't cherry picking.
No.
It says
He
very
says that
clearly
within the
that Papias
preface.
himself in his
So
preface.
external
I know.
attestation.
I'm going to drop
Okay.
it because they got
For
some
example,
comprehension issues.
Do you believe
Now I'm
that
going to bring.
the subtitles
now-
of, for example,
now-
the Gospel according to Mark? Do you think that's reliable?
Right. No, it's not reliable.
Okay, good. So the prefix, which
So,
is external
he's
from the
saying in
actual
the
works
preface.
Right.
of that, do you
Okay.
believe that
So,
that's
for example-
equally
Oh,
reliable?
okay.
For example,
So Irenaeus,
let me
wait, hang on.
just say one thing.
Okay, go on then.
If I say the Quran does not mention Jesus in Surah 1, does that mean the Quran does not mention Jesus at all? No, it just means it doesn't mention him in Surah 1.
That's a false equivocation.
Yeah.
That's a false equivocation.
Oh, no.
That's a false equivocation.
Eyewitness.
Well, no,
Okay.
that's just within the
So-
prefix. So,
so
for
You
example,
cannot. No, you cannot.
says-
You can, no, it doesn't say.
We're not making an argument from silence.
Exactly.
No,
They're making argument from silence. We're not.
Can we actually control formally this discussion? So the word that he quoted from is saying that within the prefix he never claims to be a contemporary of the apostles.
Preface.
My apologies.
Not prefix.
Now, do you agree that the prefix of the gospel, so for example
Right.
the subtitles, the gospel according to Matthew, do you believe that's reliable?
Oh, I know his argument. No, of course
Okay,
not. Of
you
course
don't.
not.
So
No,
why
no.
would you equally then say
Very
that
good.
the prefix and also the external attestations of his works
Excellent question.
is true?
Excellent question. Because that is the proof that you go by. This is not my proof.
not the proof.
Yes. Because
I-
my argument is Papias, it cannot be relied.
Okay, so do you know what you've
But
just
you're,
committed
but no, hang on.
You've
No.
committed the
One second.
fallacy
One
of-
second.
You're
You're
committed
using
the
one
fallacy
sec-
of
one-
composition.
Okay,
You're just
no
saying
problem,
that
no
because
problem. I'll let you speak,
Papias
I'll let
is
you
wrong
speak.
in this way,
Okay.
he's wrong in its totality.
Good.
By
Now,
the way, you understand that the church?
do you know Richard Borkham?
No.
Richard Borkham himself, who he himself engaged with Bart Ehrman, and he actively wrote a book to refute Bart Ehrman. Do you know what he said about the Gospel of Matthew that Papias mentioned? Papias made a mistake, and he's a Christian. So you're asking me a question as a Muslim. You have a Christian. You have a Christian. You have a Christian. Wait. You have a Christian.
Borrow the umbrella.
You have a Christian that relies on Papias' testimony, and he admits that Papias made a mistake about the Gospel of Matthew. No. The question.
Did he make a mistake?
Are you all right? Calm down.
So
Calm
again,
down, sir.
so
Calm down.
I
No,
just
your
want-
voice doesn't
I
suggest
want
so.
you to
Calm down.
formalize your
Now, my
critique.
point is.
Can I-
Now, right.
can I
Wait
enable
one
you
second.
to formalize
Now,
your
Allah says in the Quran, "Hatu burhanukum in kuntum sadiqin." Produce your proof if you're speaking the truth. Now, what is your proof? Is it the Quran? No. Your proof is the Bible. Your proof is the church tradition. I'm only using your proof to
you're making the
substantiate.
claim.
I'm using your proof
Yeah.
to show that what Papias is speaking is baseless, and you got nothing to
So
hold
do you know what
upon.
you've just committed there?
What did I commit?
You've committed the fallacy of composition. To then just contest, and again, let's just assume that your critique on Papias is correct. To then just assume.
Did I say Papias is correct? I'm saying you
Incorrect.
believe Papias is correct.
Incorrect.
You believe Papias
No,
is
but what
correct.
does
Do you
that
believe
mean?
Papias is correct?
Of course.
Right. So I don't
I
believe.
believe-
I don't
You
care.
were going to interrupt me?
Wait, one
No,
second.
you-
One second.
You've just
You-
spoken for 5
No.
minutes. And
Thomas.
now
Thomas.
You keep on speaking over me. So next time you speak, I'll
No,
speak over
composition
you.
fallacy.
No.
Forget about that.
No,
My question
that's
is,
what you've just
did I
committed.
ever say?
You've just
Did
committed
I?
that.
Did I ever?
You've just
wait,
committed the
Thomas.
fallacy of
Thomas.
composition.
Did I ever say?
So-
Did I ever say that I
so-
rely on Papias' testimony?
No.
You do. I don't.
do.
I'm
but
critiquing Papias'
do I
testimony.
believe that Papias is infallible? No, I don't.
Oh,
But
goodness
to this
me.
then suggests that the
Okay.
reason where in areas of Papias that I'm referring to,
Okay.
he is correct or not, to then just appeal to areas where he isn't is the
Okay.
fallacy of composition. Just to pick out within his corpus of writings that he's wrong
Right.
does not mean that he's wrong everywhere within the holistic.
Also,
reading
you're
of his text.
concede. So you're concede that Papias made a mistake
No,
about
I'm
the
just
Gospel of
saying
Matthew.
that.
No,
No,
because you said that
I'm
I made a
saying-
composite fallacy composition.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
what I'm doing.
saying
So are you? Wait, hang on. So are you saying that Papias' testimony is correct?
No, I'm
No,
saying.
no. Answer the question. Do you believe Papias' testimony about Mark and Matthew is accurate and correct?
Okay, so.
Yes, he's
I
answered.
am-
Can you
no,
answer?
No, 1 second.
Can you answer?
So my critique
It's
of
yes or
your
no?
argument-
It's yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm
Okay.
gonna say
Now
yes.
explain to me.
No,
Explain
no,
to me.
no,
Explain to me.
don't
Wait.
run,
Hang on.
don't run.
Now,
Don't run.
now ask me the
Okay,
question.
allow me to
Now ask me
respond
the
quickly.
question.
So,
Do I believe
what
in
you've
Papias'
just
testimony?
committed is the fallacy.
As a Muslim.
You want to interrupt him? Okay. You
As a
allow
Muslim.
me to respond
As a
very
Muslim.
quickly. Okay. So let's just say that we formalize.
Oh no, I'm going to end soon. I'm going to end 2
Let's
minutes.
just say we formalize your critique.
Okay.
So point 1, Papias, in claiming that he was a contemporary of.
Where
the
does Papias
apostles-
claim he was a
1 second,
contemporary?
1 second. So okay,
I-
point
I-
1.
I showed
No, I'm going to stop every
Let him
place
know.
where you made it
Okay.
wrong. No,
I am-
no.
I'm
I'm
still
going to stop
finding your
every place he's got it wrong.
So, point 1, the claim that critiquing.
That's critiquing. You
Yes.
like critique? I'm critiquing.
good.
Now,
So point 1.
Go on, point 1.
Interesting.
Go on.
Point 1.
Go
The
on.
claim
Yes.
that Papias is a contemporary
Yes.
of the apostles
Yes.
is incorrect. That's your point 1.
No. Is that what you believe?
No, that's your critique.
You're the
That-
one making
I'm
the
about to
claim, not
prove.
him.
I'm about to prove
Okay.
that your critique commits the fallacy of composition.
Right. So my critique is that what Papias is describing the Gospel of Mark and Matthew
Yeah.
does not mirror what you have today, and therefore what you're relying on for traditional authorship is baseless.
Wait, so you're going back to the initial critique? Wait, so you're going back to the initial critique that he is positing a sayings gospel and not a narrative gospel. Okay, where within Papias'
do,
writings?
do you see?
does
Am
he
I the
negate-
only person who argues about this? You have scholars
Yeah.
who argues that the Gospel
Okay.
of Matthew that Papias is
Demonstrate-
describing is not in line with Matthew they have today.
Demonstrate within-
Now.
Demonstrate.
Right.
You keep on
I-
controlling
I'm
the
gonna-
discussion.
I'm gonna demonstrate.
So demonstrate
Okay.
that Papias negates the possibility that within Matthew's corpus of writings
what-
it includes narratives.
Right. Okay. Okay. So, when it comes to the Gospel of Mark,
Yeah.
that Papias described
He
that
says
this.
or. He does not say and. He
Are,
says
are you
that.
gonna let me complete?
No, you keep on interrupting me, so
Are-
I'm
are you gonna let-
reciprocating the courtesy that you gave me.
Oh, okay, but I'm going to critique every point that you make. So the point
he
is,
says or.
right, the point is, John Mark, you believe John Mark wrote every what Peter remembers of the sayings or actions of the Lord,
Yes.
right? Okay. Now, do you believe that Peter was a first-hand eyewitness
Yes.
of Jesus? So he doesn't need to rely on hearsay.
Correct.
Now, if you open Gospel of Mark chapter 1 that you have today,
Yeah.
was Peter present at the baptism of Jesus?
No.
So how could he? So this is not first-hand eyewitness.
Does Peter know John?
Okay, let's open up.
I
Let's
don't think
let's
you
op-
understand what
no.
eyewitness
Let's open up.
accounts
Let's
are.
open up.
I don't
Let's open up. Let's
I
open
don't
up.
think you know
Let's
what
open up.
eyewitness accounts
Let's
are.
open up. Let's
Wait,
open up.
one second.
Let's open up.
So
Mark
I don't
chapter
think you
1.
actually understand how eyewitness accounts work. So he, firstly, Peter is in
Right.
is in the
It's a
living
recorder
memory.
in court. It's a recorder in court.
Right,
An
right,
eyewitness is
right.
the thing that
So-
happened
so-
when they write it down.
Right.
Because Peter knows John,
Right.
he's of course going to know events of his birth.
That's not what John Mark says. John Mark
Okay.
says that he wrote everything what Peter remembers of the sayings or actions of the Lord? And
Yes,
I asked,
and he knew actions of the Lord from speaking to other witnesses
So I asked,
of the action.
So I asked you, is Peter a first-hand eyewitness testimony?
Of Christ, yes.
So does he need to rely on hearsay?
He needs to rely on, for example, when it's talking about the birth of Christ and John, the people that were witnessing that.
Wait, hang on. Does the virgin birth mention the Gospel of Mark?
No.
No, so that point is
I'm
regardless.
giving you
No.
examples. So, for example,
No.
Actually, Andrew, the brother of
One second. All right, take the mic off. It's fine, no problem. Yeah, no problem.
Get out of the rain.
Take the mic off.
Okay. That's absolutely
Yeah, take the mic off. No. It's for them.
Your cameras and everything. Get out of the rain.
I'm gonna carry on speaking for you for like 2 minutes, and I'm gonna go.
Are you going to not interrupt me when I speak?
Yes.
You are giving me a post that caught me firstly. That's fine.
Okay, inshallah. No, I give to everyone. Okay, inshallah, because of rain and water is going to the mics, inshallah, we will do later, inshallah.